Hi, I'm Paula Williams with ABCI, and for this week's Marketing Monday, we have a question from a listener, and it's actually a really good question because it covers a lot of ground. So I'm going to make some assumptions and answer the question, and of course, every situation is different, so feel free to schedule an appointment with us there's an appointment link on the left-hand side of our website where you can schedule a 30-minute appointment to talk about any situation that you like. And if you've got something that you have specific questions on, we'd be happy to help you. But this one I think is pretty general, and we can cover a lot of ground with this question, so thank you for that. The question is, what is the most common mistake in an aviation ad? Now, once again, there's a lot of ground that we can cover, so I'm going to give you the big overview and then tell you some of the things that we've seen. And there is one thing that we see an awful lot in aviation advertising. So basically, every advertisement has three elements to it. And assuming that all three are there, I'm assuming that, from the context of this question, that you're talking about the presentation, how the ad looks in general, what's actually on the advertisement. But there are three elements, and all three are very important. One is the list, meaning the people who are actually going to see the ad. So if you place an ad in a magazine, it's the list of people who subscribe to that magazine or who actually read that magazine. If you put it on Facebook, then it's the number of people that you actually select in that advertisement, the demographics of people that you select from and say, I only want to advertise to people in my state or within 200 miles of my FBO or my charter organization, or whatever the situation is. If you send out postcards, then of course you've got a list for those postcards. If you send an email, you've got a list for that email. So that's thing number one, is the list. Thing number two is the offer. What are you offering to these people? What is it that is actually being advertised? What is the product or service that you're advertising, and what do you want people to actually do? And then the third thing is the presentation. How does the ad look? What's the typography? What are the visuals? What's included in the ad, and so on. So in all three cases, I would say that the most common mistake is to overcomplicate things, to try to do too much with one advertisement. So, if in doubt, simplify. That's really the rule that I run across whenever I run across an ad, that isn't performing the way people expect it to. The first thing I look at is, what can we simplify about this advertisement? And almost always you'll get an improvement if you make it simpler. Let me tell you what I mean. There's a couple of things. One is the rule of one. You only want an advertisement to accomplish one objective. It's really hard to get people to respond these days because they're bombarded with advertisements all the time. So if you think, well, this postcard or this mailing is really expensive, so I want to throw everything in the world in this advertisement or in this mailer, and make sure that they know about our maintenance services and our charter services and our FBO and all of the other things that we do. That's going to be a really hard sell, as opposed to giving people one thing that they are targeted for. Saying, I know you have this type of aircraft, we can perform this type of service for this amount of money this week, just make sure you schedule with us. So you want to make sure that your ad only does one thing, because that's really a lot easier for people to grasp, and it's also a lot easier for people to understand. And if they fall slightly outside of that, that's okay. They're likely to contact you anyway. But the more specific and the simpler, the better. So remember the rule of one. You only want an advertisement to accomplish one goal. You don't want to throw too much at people at any given time. The second thing is you want to visually simplify. So, there's a lot of advertisements out there that have a lot of different fonts and a lot of different colors and a lot of different things going on. And, people kind of get lost in that. And even if they enjoy it visually, they may not respond as well as you'd like. So that's another thing, is usually if we can visually simplify an ad, that will improve the performance of it. And you can do A/B testing, have this version and that version, take something out of your version B, of your B testing and see if it performs better than your A testing. Almost always that's the case. So if you can look at your ad and say, is there anything here that's absolutely not essential, or not absolutely essential, I guess is the correct order. Take it out, test it without it, and see if it does better without a complicated visual, or without a background, or without another line of text that maybe doesn't contribute much to the overall goal. And then the third thing is you want to have a really simple, clear call to action. What do you want people to do after seeing this ad? A lot of times you'll see this beautiful photograph of an airplane with your logo on it and all that stuff, but it doesn't say what you want people to do. Do you want them to contact your office for a free consultation? Do you want them to download something? Do you want them to visit your website for a particular offer? What is it that you want them to do? And this is kind of simplifying your offer. So those three things, rule of one, visually simplify, and have a really clear call to action. If you can do any or all of those things, what they all amount to really is simplifying. So, the big idea for this week's episode is to simplify your ads, and they almost always perform better because of that. So once again, for personal attention on any of your campaigns, if you've got something going on that you don't like the way it's going, you don't like the results you're getting or anything else, or you're confused by something or the way it works, just set up a 30-minute appointment with us. There's no obligation. The more we know about what you're trying to do and what results you're getting, the better we can help. So you can schedule a consultation with us. We also have a free webinar coming up on Wednesday, and that is about branding for aviation companies and some of the specific things that aviation companies have done successfully and maybe not so successfully. So we hope you join us for that. That's Wednesday at 1 o'clock Mountain Time. And you can find that on our events tab. So thank you for the question. And of course, if you do ask a question and we use it in our Marketing Mondays, we will send you a copy of our social media guide to high altitude results. This is for aviation professionals. So there's some pretty specific stuff in here about hashtags that work for aviation, which digital marketing channels work best, some different experiments that have been run with numbers and everything else. So it's pretty specific and pretty helpful to the aviation industry. So if you're in sales or marketing in aviation, you can find this on Amazon for $16.99, or you can get it for free by asking a question. If we feature your question on the air, then we'll send you a book. So thank you for joining us, and happy Marketing Monday.